Hey guys, what's up? For many years through my late 20s and early to mid 30s, I kind of wanted to start a business. And I'm an engineer by trade, and so I would have ideas like maybe I could just start a consulting business or a small engineering company and design things and build stuff. And I always felt like I never had a good enough idea to execute on to start a business. And that's really what held me back for a long time. I always felt like I needed to have the next world changing idea. I needed $1 million idea, or I needed something that could immediately replace my income from my professional career. And so those kind of ridiculous requirements that I would place on myself prevented me from ever starting a business up until just about 2 years ago now. And finally, I got to a point where I thought, I'm never going to have that idea. You're never going to have $1 trillion idea. You're never going to have an idea whose total addressable market is every human on the planet. So you need to not set the bar so high to starting a business. In fact, you can start a business with no idea. I mean, I have a bunch of terrible ideas. Just ask my wife. When I started Final Trade, I had a vague idea of how I wanted to kind of steer the business in the long term. And a lot of the nuance of that has changed. A lot of new opportunities have opened themselves to me, and I've learned a lot of things since then. And so you will have bad ideas all the time, but write them down. And then later you'll come back to them and you'll say, but I could make that work with maybe a different audience, or maybe a slightly different product, or if I market it in a different way, or maybe now just the time is right for some business idea that you had in the past that wouldn't work back then. And those are the kind of things that'll happen when you get a business started and you run it for a little while. Even like, my small little fake magic card business of Final Trade, where I make videos and I talk to people and I try to give advice and I try to learn things and share that knowledge and everything else. You'll have better and better ideas over time, and you'll figure things out. And so you could start with nearly nothing, because the benefit of just starting a business is you'll get a state sales tax certificate. You can buy things sales tax free, and that will give you opportunities in the future. I've seen opportunities unrelated to magic cards that I've kind of dabbled in with Final Trade the business, not Final Trade the YouTube channel, but Final Trade the business, since I started it, that I would have never thought I'd be interested in. But there are other things that you can have the opportunity to, on a whim, attempt once you have a business, once you're registered with the state, once you have a sales tax certificate, you have a business banking account, once you've jumped through the required hoops to become a real business. And it makes me really wish I had done this 15 years ago. That even if you have a business and, you don't really do much with it, that's fine. We have a lot of myths in the US about what the IRS will do to you and about what they require, and they're all just myths. No, you do not have to make a profit to be a businessman in the IRS. The IRS has lost in court many times over the issue of whether you have to be successful to be a businessman. And the courts have ruled, no, you can be a businessman and be an unsuccessful one and still be allowed to continue being an unsuccessful businessman. So no, you don't have to have some idea that's necessarily profitable. No, you don't have to make a profit 3 out of 5 years or 4 out of 7 years or whatever the myths will tell you. As long as you're making good faith effort to build a business to eventually make profits, you have a lot of leeway to run a business in the US and be unsuccessful at it for years. And I had a total loss, not a total loss, but I mean overall Final Trade produced a loss in 2021. I haven't done my accounting and taxes for 2022 yet, but I suspect overall I'll manage to have a loss for the business again, in terms of supplies and things like that outweighed revenues. And so then that's totally aside from the money putting aside sealed product. That doesn't account into profit and loss immediately. But I expect that in 2023, Final Trade will probably turn a loss again. It might turn a profit. So it might be to the point where I kind of can't outspend the revenues in terms of supplies and other things. And I expect to have more revenues anyway. But The point is, don't be paralyzed by the fear that your business ideas are not good enough. Nobody thinks their business ideas are good enough. I promise you, when Jeff Bezos registered Amazon LLC, he probably thought this idea is okay, it'll probably work, it'll be a good shot, but he did not know that he was building what would become the world's largest company. And so he was probably full of doubt too, just like you and I are. And so the point is, now's the best time of the year to start a business because it's January. You have 12 months to run the business before you have to do your federal accounting for your taxes at the beginning of 2024. So you have that benefit of having the longest runway before you have to deal with those things. But, we're kind of in a tumultuous economic time. And as they say, when there's blood in the streets, buy real estate. It's a good time to start a business, to test some ideas, to put a little bit of money into it and see if you can make something happen. And really what has amazed me about running Final Trade is that I'll have those dumb ideas and they'll sit on the back burner, and then eventually they'll turn into something interesting and something that I try a little harder with, something that I may make some money with, and eventually I'll have better and better ideas, or I'll have better opportunity, or something will open up and I'll expand this even more. And so the point is, you can't have those opportunities to do that if you don't get started, if you don't just register a business. So go do that. It's pretty cheap in most states in the US. Some states do not charge you an ongoing fee year to year to maintain a business. Some do, but you should move out of those. But that's the point, is don't be afraid to start a business. Don't think that you have to have a world-changing idea to start a business. You will just have some kind of idea, and you will have more ideas over time, and something may work out for you. So you have to get started in order to do it. So that's the message, is go do it. Just go. So let me know what you think, guys. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on Final Trade. Join the Patreon.